Welcome back to No Joke Survival. I'm Jason Hill.
I'm James Blackburn.
In today's show, we're discussing food storage and all the different types of foods, how long they last, what it takes, as far as some need water, some don't.
Yep. And we touched base on quite a bit in the first segment, but one thing I'd like to talk about here real quick is natural foods, such as peanut butter and honey. Those have a fairly long shelf life, right?
Absolutely. Honey I love because, for one, years later, the most that normally happens to is it kind of gets crystallized, and you just set that like in a hot water bath, and it'll go right back to a liquid.
Nice.
It like virtually lasts forever.
Yeah.
And it also has antiseptic properties and some other great benefits too.
Yeah, the bees are awesome for making it for us.
Exactly. And peanut butter is just kind of awesome in general, as far as the protein content, the oils and fats and stuff that are in it.
And it's very yummy too.
I like yummy.
Yes.
That's good. So, we have a number of different products, and some of them last longer than others. And so some of the ones that can last 20 to 30 years are going to be like wheat, rice, sugar, pinto beans, oats, and like pasta.
Right. And can you stockpile seeds for about the same amount of time? Do they have as long of a shelf life for planting those later?
I don't know the exact length of time, but seeds are a great option for prepping, because if, say, a crisis happened and it destroyed the soil or the land or polluted it somehow, and you had to move to a different area and plant crops, if you have some heirloom seeds, then you could potentially throw together a little garden and have a perpetual food source. So having seeds is always a good idea for prepping.
Right, and even though we don't know the exact shelf life, it's a pretty substantial amount of years, I believe. That
Sure.
they last,
I've got some at home, and they're in a little Mylar package, and they're sealed up, and will last.
Now, what about foods that last over 10 years, such as, flour, potato flakes, stuff like that?
Yeah, powdered milk, powdered eggs,
So powdered foods.
Cheese.
Powder.
Could you imagine? I'm going to make an omelet. I'm going to have my powdered eggs, my powdered cheese, and my glass of powdered milk.
It sounds yummy, but hey, in a survival situation, you won't be complaining about it, right?
Well, and that's the key. Is it may not sound super yummy, but if you're looking for something that lasts a long time, that you'll still have as a food source down the road, then you kind of just go with what you have.
Exactly. Now, corn, that also has a pretty long shelf life, right?
Yep. Regular corn, and there's different ways to prepare these, and you want to just package them up to where they're protected from like bugs and insects and things like that.
Yeah, because any kind of critters that are nearby that are also hungry are going to eat up your food if you're not careful.
That's right.
And one quick thing I wanted to mention too is we're talking about long-term food storage, and obviously a refrigerator is not a long-term food storage situation. And if you lost power, the food in the fridge would last 3 to 4 hours, and the stuff in the freezer maybe 24 at the max. Yep. So that's one of the reasons why we're talking a lot about long-term storage, because electricity doesn't always see you through.
Correct. And if all of a sudden there's a crisis, you want to do just that, is burn through the items that are in your refrigerator.
The perishable items.
Perishable before they spoil and go bad. Then work your way to the freezer items. And we've discussed this before, but use the canned goods and the dry goods and the rehydrated goods. Use those last, so that it'll last a long time.
Well, you know me, I love potatoes. And if they're in flake form or not, it doesn't matter, because when they're cooked, it tastes awesome to me. So I have potato flakes at home stored all the time, because potato is one of the most ultimate vegetables out there, or grain, or whatever they call it in the Food Network.
So then you also have some items that you dehydrate yourself. So there's your beef jerky.
Beef jerky, yep.
Which I absolutely love. I do a lot of hiking, you do as well, and it's just real easy to eat, store, package, take with you.
I never go on a hike without some beef jerky. Either store-bought stuff, or obviously homemade is always better. And you can do that with a food dehydrator.
Yeah, you can pick them up at a local store. They're not expensive. and you can experiment. You can play with it. You just start cutting some thin slices and try different spices.
And what else can you dehydrate in there other than beef jerky?
Fruits and vegetables. So you
And
have
that prolongs the shelf life as well when they're dehydrated?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So banana chips are popular, or apples, and vegetables, leafy greens, kale, and there's just so many options that you have. So why not? You can do it at home. And
Almost anything is dehydratable, right?
yes. Is that a word?
It is now.
Dehydratable.
So once the fruits, the vegetables, the beef jerky is dehydrated, it has about a year shelf life, you think?
Thereabouts, it varies. So, you want to use it up, over some of the other stuff. But a lot of it will last up to about a year.
Nice.
And then, you can start, once you've used up all of your other perishable items kind of in the order that they perish, hopefully it won't last that long. Hopefully you won't need to think about 10 or 20 years from now trying to
Right.
survive. But then you can use the rehydrated, like the prepackaged items where you add water, use
Nice.
those type of things last.
I don't know why, but it just gets me excited to think about how to prep these things for ourselves and for our families, and just having the knowledge of feeling like we could be prepared should something happen,
Yeah, and another key thing that you want to try to think about is buying foods or storing foods that you're actually going to eat. A lot of people will buy these big bags of beans or rice, and it's like, what are you going to do with that? Do you have a meal in mind, Like, how is that all going to come together? But you want to have stuff that you're going to eat if you have to.
Exactly, and obviously you should use common sense if the food has potential to be spoiled or whatnot. Smell it, a little taste of it. Don't just dive in right away. Make sure that the food has not been infected by bugs or whatever.
Yeah. The food will be discolored, or if it has a bad odor to it, then common sense says that's probably not
Right.
good. Yeah, you don't need to get sick because that's just going to make things worse.
Make things a lot worse, unfortunately.
So, some things to consider when you are storing food are where you're at, your climate, because there's a lot of factors that affect food storage, such as heat, humidity, the moisture content in the air, how long they've been stored, even light.
Now, do we have some examples of variety of things in the beginner's box?
We do, and
I think it's just about time to mention that.
Oh, yeah, well, let's bring Dani in if she's got the beginner's box ready.
Oh, I do.
Dani!
It's quite large this time around since everyone loves food. So
Beginner's box, time to dance, woohoo!
I wonder how silly we
2.0, it's getting better.
I'm waiting for the comments to roll in on our beginner's box dance.
It's bad and getting worse. Well, I guess we'll start off. Since the beginner's box, you have food storage, so we needed a variety of different kind of items. So earlier, we had talked about the dehydrated food packets, and I have a couple here, actually, and that you can have all kinds of different items, and depending on what kind of situation you may be in, you can use them for hiking, backpacking, or if your power goes out and you think, oh, I need to make dinner really, really simply. So
Yep, just add some boiled water to them, and they're
Exactly.
lightweight and they store easy.
Yep.
Now, I have never, ever eaten these, but I'm going to actually, I think, pass that on to you to have you explain.
This is just a nice little block. They're kind of like cookies. There's 16 little individual cookies in here at 200 calories each, so it's like emergency food. So
Emergency
it packs.
food cookies.
Yeah. Well, you're packed into a small amount, so if you need to get some energy in you, you can ration these out. So many calories, and it'll last you a little while.
Well, and those
Nice.
are nice
But-
because there's a ton in such a small amount of space. So if you're a big family, you have 6 kids or whatever, you can have a bunch of those and kind of ration them out.
Yeah, and
Versus-
it's all sealed up real nice. So I mean, this could get wet or whatever, and it's still good.
Nice. So, we have a part of an MRE packet. This is a beef patty. We're not going to open it because then I'll want to eat it. I'm really hungry right now. But this is, again, just part of an MRE packet. There's usually some kind of protein. There's some kind of grain. Sometimes there's a dessert, but maybe. So
Those are great because you don't have to rehydrate them.
oh, very true.
What else we got?
We have some canned sardines. Just for example's sake, you can have sardines, there's tuna, there's anything under the sun. I like canned chicken a lot, and that way, I prefer the real thing, but I'm not a huge tuna eater, so there are other options out
Gives you
there.
a good variety.
So we have some basic canned goods, different kinds of soups, there's beans, there's also, going the natural way. Get
Honey.
some honey on
Oh.
here. Yes.
Peanut butter and honey sounds good.
It does.
Oh, you're going to go for it? I'm going to go for it.
for
We're both wanting to eat it.
Mine. But such up there.
And what are these for?
Yeah.
These are just, different kinds of spices, especially, if you have 10 pounds of rice and you think, oh my gosh, I'm sick of eating rice. The more spice you
Exactly.
have, since they last so long, the more spice you have, the more variety you can have. So
Yeah, I had
then-
I put ketchup in rice once to make it taste better, so it doesn't
oh
work.
my. So you have can openers, cooking
Dun, dun, dun.
utensils,
Something to cook it all in.
dun, 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 and
Some dried beans.
dried beans. This, just for example's sake, you can have beans. Again, you can have rice, flour, sugar.
Stay tuned. When we come back from the break, we're going to go in more depth about all these products here.
Yes.
Awesome,
And
man, you've got a lot of
hopefully
stuff.
eat something